Welcome back to Introduction to iOS Application Development at SSFS. So in this lesson, we're going to look a little bit more closely at tab bar controllers and their importance. And I'm sure if you've ever used an iOS app, you may have seen an app with buttons at the bottom. And then each button would take us to a different view. So in this case, we have a list of projects, and you have the project button is highlighted. Okay? And then if I click on, let's say, the materials button, I get a new view that has materials in it. And there's also a more button that has more information that just doesn't fit on our tab. And these are very, very common things to see. Now, one of the things you could do is you could create a view with just buttons along the bottom that you create, and then each button, when you click on it, goes to a different view. You could do this all manually, but tab view controllers take care of all that for us. So you notice that I have one app, one tab bar controller, but multiple views. And when I click on it, I can get to different pieces. All of it's managed by a tab bar controller. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can add to ours that we started. So I remember last lesson we made a tab bar controller, and it had two views in it, item 1 and item 2. So we're going to customize that a little bit more today. So notice in the Project Navigator, I have my images folder. And if I click on it, it shows me all the different images that are a part of this application. So I've got an album icon in different resolutions, an app icon, a movie icon, and a song icon. So let's go ahead and look at our tab 2 or item 2. Well, let's look at our item 1 first. So we're going to look at our item 1 bar. I'm going to select it, make sure that it's highlighted. Actually, I'll do it in here in item 1 scene. I'll select it in the outline view, and notice it's highlighted here. And in the attributes inspector, I have an image that's blank. I'm going to change the image attribute to top song, and then I'm going to make the title attribute, instead of item 1, I'll make it top song. And when I hit enter, notice this changes and the image changes, which looks a little bit nicer. Let's go ahead and do the same thing to item 2. We're going to tap it to make sure the item 2 button is selected. We're going to change it to top album. I'm going to make the image top album icon. Okay. So notice that my image is different and my title is different. And now that looks a little bit better rather than item 1 and item 2. So now what we need to do, remember we had 4. We had top app and we had top movie. So we don't have view controllers for those yet, so we need to add those. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see my whole storyboard. And I'm going to go ahead and add a new view controller. So I'm going to hit view, and I'm going to add new view controller. I'm going to put it under my tab bar controller. Okay, in the document outline, I'm going to rename my view controller. I'm going to rename it to top app. Hit enter. So now I have a top app controller, but you notice that my top song and my top album are connected to my tab bar controller by these lines in this circle called a segue, but my top app one is not connected. So there are a couple of different ways I can do it, but the easiest one is in my outline. I'm going to click on my tab bar controller. I'm going to hold the control key down, and I'm going to drag a line to my top app. And then I get a number of options. I get manual segues. I'm going to choose a relationship segue and choose view controller. And that creates a connection between my tab bar controller and this item here. So let's go ahead and change my top app. Let's select the item, and let's go ahead and make this top app. And we're going to use the top app icon image. You can see the image appears there. So let's go ahead and repeat those steps to create a top movie view controller. So I'm going to kind of zoom out. I'm going to add a view controller. I'll move it over here. Again, the placement doesn't really matter. This is just so I can organize it and see it. I'm going to take my view controller and I'm going to name it to top movie. I'm going to create a relationship from my tab bar controller to my movie. So I'm going to hit the control key and drag to top movie. Make sure it's a relationship segue, view controllers. See the line appears. And then finally I'll choose the item. I'll make the title top movie and make a top movie icon. So now I should have 4 view controllers. Let's go ahead and run this to see what this looks like to make sure everything works okay. And again, these views are all blank, so I shouldn't see much, but at least I should be able to select between the different tabs. So here we go. I've got top song, top album, top app, and top movie. And you notice that nothing appears when I click on them because there's no information there. And we'll start taking care of that in the next lessons.